get this, for the second, California was in big trouble. Actually, all of us here in the West are in big trouble because of the drought. I mean, out here in the desert, even the cactus is not looking so good. But for the second straight month, Californians actually exceeded their water conservation mandates during the relentless drought without the state having to impose a penny of fines. In fact, cities in California cut water by a combined 31% in July, exceeding the governor's widest expectations. He had, I think, called for 25%. So, I don't know what they're doing in California. Maybe they're drinking the hard stuff. I don't know. Donald Trump is back up in the polls yet again. And, of course, he has exposed a very deep rift inside the Republican Party, one that goes deeper than the one that goes through California and threatens to erupt one day. And the Republican Party, they don't know what to do. They don't like the 11 million illegals that are in the country right now. But I think they're so full of Donald Trump, so to speak, that they are ready to deal with it as a party. In other words, they're using code words for, we better deal with the status of the 11 million living in the country now. So I guess he has pushed them a bit. I got this from somebody. First of all, Roswell's Art, longtime fan, good to have you back, always, of course, right? Yesterday, I stumbled upon a thread on Reddit detailing what I must say is the most incredible set of stories I've ever read. A man identifying himself as a search and rescue worker in an unnamed national park area. Many of these stories now are similar to the ones told in the Missing 411 series of books, which I'm sure you are familiar with. I am. Stories of mysterious disappearances, strange entities in the woods, among others. But here's the one that got me. Strange staircases now are seemingly appearing from nowhere. Staircases, really? All search and rescue park rangers staff are told not to talk about them and never to go near. So I was enthralled. Many other people have chimed in to corroborate the story, including Native Americans, hikers, and others. I think you should check it out. It's incredible. So I'll just put that out in the ether, and if any of you know anything about strange staircases appearing in national parks, then I want to hear about it. I want to mention one other thing that's really been bugging me every day since we did this. Remember how I said that what John Lear said to me long ago about going to the darkness instead of the light? He said the light is a trick. Go to the darkness. That's been with me for years. The guy planted that in my brain, and it won't go away. And there was, likewise, something the other day that was said that just, I cannot shake it. Do you remember he said that a lot of 4-year-olds, we had a doctor on discussing 4-year-olds, and they say things that sometimes blow people away. About other lives and that kind of stuff, right? But that's not what got me. What got me was, he said, 4-year-olds sometimes tell stories about levitating. Now, that one really, really hit me, because I remember about that age, I'm sorry, but I remember levitating. I remember being able to float. Now, maybe it is something just psychologically indigenous to a 4-year-old. I have no idea. And maybe even fly. I remember, I think, flying, but I know for sure I remember levitating. And somebody said that on a show a few days ago, and it just has stuck with me, remembering it. I wonder if any of the other rest of you all of you, got hit the same way. All right. What is coming up in a moment? I want to, as strongly as I can, make a point here. This is not an infomercial. The doctor coming on is not selling anything. Indeed not. And I think because other shows do that kind of thing where they're peddling something or whatever, you might think that's what this is going to be, and it's not. He's not selling anything. Dr. Ronald Klatz, who I have interviewed now several times, years ago, MD, DO, he coined the term anti-aging medicine. It is in fact recognized, he is in fact recognized as a leading authority in the new clinical science of anti-aging medicine. Since 1981, Dr. Klatz has been integral in the pioneering exploration of new therapies for the treatment and prevention of age-related degenerative diseases. I've got some of those. He is the physician founder and president of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. In his capacity as A4M president, Dr. Klatz oversees AMA/ACCME approved continuing medical education programs for more than 100,000 physicians, holy moly, and health practitioners and scientists from all over the world. That would be 105 countries worldwide. So coming up in a moment is Dr. Klatz, and he is an amazing guy. So stay right where you are, and we'll talk about, well, the possibility of many of you not growing much older than you are right now. Does that sound appealing? All right, now, Dr. Klatz will tell you about his purple and yellow Get Young pills, right, Doctor? Just kidding.
Sure, but I have more than just purple and yellow.
Just kidding, anyway. There are so many, I'm sorry, but fraudulent things going on in the world of anti-aging medicine that I want to go out of my way for people to know.
Well, let's be fair, Art. Let's say there's a lot of strange stuff going in the world of anti-aging marketing. Anti-aging medicine's a little bit different.
Oh, that's okay. I guess that is kind of fair, but I know there are supplements out there that may not be of the strength that really causes 2 days to come off your life, frankly.
Well, look, as I say, there's anti-aging medicine, which I'm completely responsible for, and I take full responsibility for, as I'm the physician founder of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, which is a professional medical society which, has been around for 25 years now and has really changed the face of healthcare. If you remember what it was like, and I know you do, Art, some 25 years ago, doctors were losing their licenses for prescribing vitamin C or exercise or...
actually, FBI was raiding health food joints. All kinds of things were going on.
Oh, yeah. Guns drawn, people led away in handcuffs. So it was a pretty dark age.
I know. Those vitamins are dangerous. You've got to go in.
Dangerous things, yeah.
With heat,
Anyway, so we created, myself and a handful of other physicians, created the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. Again, different from anti-aging marketing. Now, it's just such a good term that the marketers glommed onto it, and a lot of vitamins have been sold, and a lot of other products have been sold, and I can't disagree with you. Some of them are fairly worthless, but a lot of them are not. And so, but again, anti-aging medicine is what the doctors do. And that's pretty good. That's pretty strong, straightforward scientific stuff. At least the doctors of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, and we're now in 120 countries around the world, and associated with a bunch of major medical universities, and offering advanced degrees and master levels and even PhD level degrees. So, anti-aging medicine is a little bit different than anti-aging marketing. But I agree with you. You got to be careful with anti-aging marketing because it's so easy to make claims.
Okay, well, I get a lot of spam every day, and I guarantee you 4 or 5 of them are about how to arrest aging now. Guaranteed.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Well, yeah, and that has not been the happiest part of my life and the happiest part of my legacy. But I'm willing to accept that compared with the way it used to be.
Just before we get into all of this, I want to say that I think that the American medical community right now is a disastrous mess. That American medicine is a disastrous mess. We're very good at it, don't get me wrong. We come up with the newest of the new. I'll give us that. Otherwise, we suck. And I really mean that. And I'm going to lay out why I think that, okay?
Okay.
If I've got something wrong with me, and I need to have an elective kind of operation, something serious and expensive, and oh, God, it's expensive, doctor. That's what's wrong with what we're doing here.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so I'm better off, frankly, getting on an airplane, booking a flight to Bangkok, where I can get a hospital that's every bit as modern with doctors that have been trained right here in the U.S. to do the operation,
Yes.
pay for my week or two in Bangkok, and fly home and still have lots and lots of money left over. That's one point.
I can't argue with you, Art.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Point.
the basis of medical tourism.
Yeah. Okay. Point two. Just last time I went to the doctor, I thought, I'm gonna give the little blue pill a try. Okay.
Okay.
And so I said, let me try it. And he wrote up, I think, what was it? It was a prescription for, I don't know, 10 or 20 of them or something like that. It came to I think it was 20. It came to $400. $400? Are you kidding me? You know what I did? Or what, let's say, somebody could have done? They could have gone online, doctor, and ordered the same little blue pills made by the same people from India for about
$2.35 a pill.
About 46 cents a pill.
Oh, 40. Well, you're a better shopper than I am, Art.
I didn't exactly say I did it. I said that's the case. Now, so I'm angry. I'm really angry. Frankly, doctor, some people, friends of mine, have become ill here in Pahrump, which is a very rural community, and they've got to be helicoptered into Las Vegas.
Right.
And the horror stories just never end. The cost of the helicopter to go from here to there, like $20,000, something like that.
Oh my God.
Then some outrageous figure. It may not be exactly 20, but it's right up there.
So it's
okay.
up there,
and then you get to the hospital where when they bill you, if you're not dead from whatever you went over for, you're going to look at the bill and probably die on the spot.
Yeah.
So that's out of my system. It's out of my system. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How did I get to be the apologist for the conventional medicine establishment? I'm on the other side of the coin.
You're just a doctor, and so I'm taking it out on you. I took it out. By the way, I took it out on my own doctor, and he said, "Yeah, man, I agree with you." So. We're
the answer, Art. The anti-aging doctors, the anti-aging doctors, the guys who are part of the new paradigm of healthcare. We're part of the answer, not part of the problem. You're 100% right. The system is broken. The system is broken beyond repair.
Right.
And you have a guy by the name of Obama who decides to do Obamacare, which just pumps steroids into the old system.
Yeah. I can't really even argue with that. Under Obamacare, my insurance has gone up substantially. I mean, really substantially. I've got Medicare. What do I care? My wife and my child, theirs has gone up substantially, and they're healthy as little horses.
Well, I won't tell you about my situation. Well, yes, I will. Okay, I'm a physician. I'm healthy, right?
Yes.
I'm.
Well, I don't know that for sure.
I'm not that old. Well, just take my word for it.
Okay.
I'm a doctor. Take my word for it.
Okay. I'm a doctor.
Anyway,
trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm paying about $1,000 a month for health care just for me. Not for my family, just for me. Now, I had to go to see a doctor the other day, a colleague, if you will, because I had a sore throat, and I was very concerned because I had a little nodule in my throat, and I said, well, it's not supposed to be there.
Yep.
I just wanted to take a look at it with a little scope he has. It takes him all of 5 minutes at most.
Professional courtesy?
That's what I was expecting, frankly, when I walked in the door, but oh no, they can't do that. They have to call my insurance company. My insurance company tells them they have to charge me the minimum, the whatever it is. They take a percentage or whatever, and I'm in there for. It should have been less than 5 minutes, but I was in there for all of maybe about 12 minutes. I looked at my watch. Because for 8 of those 12 minutes, he had to write a medical record. He had to make notes because he's not allowed to see me without making notes. Now, even though most of the time he spent looking at the notes, making the notes, playing with the computer, he only spent 2 minutes really looking down my throat and saying, it's nothing. Don't worry, it'll go away. Just, use an antacid. You'll be fine. A little reflux. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
You're lucky your insurance company didn't see the word nodule and go, going to have to cancel this guy.
Okay. In spite of the fact that I had the best health insurance that you can buy, I'm paying $1,000 a month premiums. I don't know what the doctor billed the insurance company, but my end of it was over $100 just for those 5 minutes. Now, that would be okay, but that was just my deductible. Now, the only reason why that whole thing has, so I'm assuming that his billing was in the neighborhood of $300 or $400 or $500, and the only reason why that happened was that he was not allowed to just see me on professional courtesy. The insurance companies and the situation has gotten to the point where there is no wiggle room anymore, and where everybody's running scared and everybody is just running down the track and with their eyes closed off the precipice.
Well, Doctor, I would feel sorry for you, except that you simply got a dose of your own. Right? I mean, that's what it boils down to.
My point is this. The system is broken. The system is broken for everyone. If I was on Obamacare, by the way, and this is the person next to me was, their deductible was $12.
Wow.
Which is... I'm, good, God bless the person next to me. My whole point is that the system is upside down, sideways, inside out. It's broken. We're dealing with a system that is in desperate need of repair, and the reason for it is because we have made medicine into the business of medicine. It's no longer the profession of medicine. It's the business of medicine, and so it's being run for the profit motive, and the profit motive maximizes the bills, maximizes the amount of care that you have to receive, maximizes the amount of paperwork, and it's all upside down, inside out, and there is no focus at all on the cure and very little focus on even the diagnosis.
By the way, I do want to say, while I'm moaning and groaning about Obamacare's hiking up my insurance costs, I still have sympathy with the idea of getting everybody who needs it medical care. Maybe it was the wrong way to do it, but we're a rich country, and we damn well ought to be able to take care of our people.
Everybody can have decent medical care. If we were to spend money on prevention, which is what anti-aging medicine is really all about, it's really a euphemism for...
And we'll get there. Let me tell you something. I was in the Philippines, right? Yes. I lived in I still have a condo in Manila. The Philippines is a poor country. A lot of the majority of the citizens in the Philippines subsist on a dollar a day or $2 a day or less. I mean, that's what you would call a poor country. It's slowly getting better and better. But even in the Philippines, they have what's called PhilCare. It's national health care. And people aren't going broke because it exists. I guess my rant is done. Even Americans who go to live there can have PhilCare.
Okay.
I mean, what is wrong with us?
What's wrong with us is that we just will not take charge. We will not fix something when it's broken. We will let the politicians run the ship onto the rocks, and grind it to, and just grind the system and grind the system and grind the system as long as the people will pay. That's what's wrong with us. And until the public takes charge and says no more, we need to revolutionize this system. We need to do something that works as opposed to continuing on with something that doesn't work.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's a seller's market. And by that I mean if you get sick, if you've got nodules in your throat or little things poking out in your body where they ought not to be, you don't have any damn choice. You have to go to the doctor and or the hospital, and you have to partake of the system. So it's a seller's market. But
the seller is not the doctor. You see, that's what the public doesn't understand. The doctor is as much the victim as the patient. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to get, but doctors' incomes are down, down, down. An average doctor in America is earning less today than he was 20 years ago.
I actually believe that. All right, fine. Let me make you the health czar. No such thing. In fact, I'll make you the health dictator. And you are now allowed to do anything you want, and I mean anything at all, to fix our healthcare system. What would you do?
First thing I would do is I would put the FDA back to its original role, which was the protection of food and for the protection of dangerous drugs, for adverse side effects of drugs, not for this octopus-like tentacles into every aspect of the healthcare system, which they do not belong. I would replace the FDA and put them back to their original intent. Okay, that would be number one, and that would free up a lot of innovation and opportunity in healthcare, because the over-regulatory effect of FDA in protecting the pharmaceutical industry, because the FDA has become the watchdog for the pharmaceutical industry, not the watchdog for the public. The public doesn't understand that, but that's the way it is.
Okay, what else?
Do that, you would drop healthcare. Healthcare costs quite dramatically, and you would allow for the importation of drugs from overseas that are very effective, that work well, that are not dangerous, and that could do an awful lot for healthcare in the U.S. The second thing that I would do is I would provide for a one payer that you could opt into. You weren't required to, but you could opt into a one payer healthcare system. And so you could have a basic level of health care that was provided for you at a very reasonable price to this one payer healthcare system.
National healthcare system.
It would be similar to national health care, but it would be optional. It wouldn't be enforced, and it wouldn't be imposed upon you. It would be something.
All right. What about the people that opt out and then walk into a county hospital, and the county hospital has to take care of them, right?
That's fine. Those county hospitals should be taking care of them. And for the people who opt out of the system and who are willing to accept what they get at a county hospital, well, that's probably just about right. Because county hospitals are places where we train doctors. They're places where you're not going to get the concierge-type medical care that you may want. You are not going to get the type of comfort medicine or aesthetics or latest cutting-edge therapies that you might want. But it's a place where you can go where you're going to get at least decent, fair, and life-saving medicine. And I think that's the role of the county hospital.
Doctor, hold tight. We'll be right back.
Dark Matter News. I'm Leo Ashcraft. Has an entrance to what some are calling an alien base been found? A large underwater opening was found on the Malibu, California coast located at Point Dume. The discovery was announced in 2014 on the Dark Matter radio network and was made using Google Earth by Maxwell, Del Romero, and Jimmy Church. Researchers and UFO buffs alike have been searching for it for the past 40 years. The site has been a focus within the UFO community as a proposed hotspot for flying objects. The pillars, which are thought to be support beams, are more than 600 feet tall underwater, and the entrance is at a depth of 2,000 feet below the water's surface. A paper published in 2009 by the United States Geological Survey was shown to the Huffington Post, and scientists who have been studying this area refer to it as Sycamore Knoll. David Schwartz, a geologist with the USGS, says this is interpreted as a thrust fault, meaning one side of the crust moves up over the other, and what we're looking at is interpreted as being the surface expression of this doom thrust, which is part of a large fault system in Southern California. Still, speculations regarding the strange underwater area continue to draw attention by some to this day. And many UFO enthusiasts can't help but to wonder if it's simply a natural occurrence or if it could be related to the sightings in that area. NASA is determined to probe our neighboring celestial bodies in the hopes to find alien microbial life within 20 to 30 years. According to NASA scientist Ellen Stoffen back in April of this year at the Solar System and Beyond Panel Conference in Washington. For the scientists, the most interesting places to look for life are other worlds which fall within the galactic habitable zones around stars similar to our own. The researchers at NASA are primarily looking for rocky planets that may contain water. Scientists estimate that the search for life is about one generation away from making that discovery, and NASA has many new projects currently in the works. You really should take a look at these new photos on darkmatternews.com. This poor woman. Medical doctors in Sichuan, a province in southwest China, recently diagnosed an 87-year-old Chinese woman who had a large extruding from her head with a condition known as cornocutaneum, or cutaneous horns. 7 years ago, Liang noticed something on her head which looked like a black mole at the time, but didn't think anything of it. 2 years later, it turned into something much more, and she began to have cause for concern. The woman's son thought the Chinese medicine would cure the problem, but unfortunately that didn't work. Her son says now the horn is painful and prevents her from sleeping and bleeds from time to time. Now measuring just over 5 inches, the elderly woman's family thinks that the surgical procedure to remove it may not be the best option at this point due to her age. Currently, the doctors are seeking alternative options to get rid of the horn for good. Has a 100,000-year-old three-pronged electrical plug been found embedded in a block of granite? They say the curious stone was unearthed during an excursion in a rural location in North America, far from human settlements, industrial complexes, airports, factories, and electronic or nuclear plants. While it may hurt the credibility of his discovery by electrical engineer John J. Williams in 1998, he refuses to give the exact location of his find for fear that the site might be plundered of other mysterious relics. Known as the Enigmalith, which is a combination of words enigma and monolith, or petrodox, he says the device presents the undeniable appearance of an electronic component embedded in a naturally formed solid granite stone composed of quartz and feldspar. Due to the secrecy surrounding the find, its $500,000 price tag, and an extraterrestrial theory surrounding the object, many from the scientific community have categorized the Enigmalith as a hoax manufactured solely for the fame and fortune of its owner. Leo Ashcraft for Dark Matter News.
And what you're about to hear, as soon as we begin talking about anti-aging medicine, which really is now, you're going to hear stuff that is not an infomercial. I want to repeat that. It's not. We don't do these on this network. At least I don't, and won't, ever. This is real. What you're going to hear is real. It's about the state of anti-aging medicine nationally, and he is the right man to be talking about this. So, Dr. Klatz, welcome back.
Oh, well, thank you, Art.
All right, so a listener has a comment, and then we'll launch. But really, this is relevant. It's John. And he said, Art, I remember from one of the old interviews that you did with Dr. Klatz that he said something like, if you can hold out for another 30 years, then the technology for infinite life extension will be here. Now, that might have been...
I don't think I said infinite life extension.
Well, okay,
like
that's right.
120 years of age.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
he says, I wonder, are we still on track?
Oh, yeah. We're going faster than I ever thought we would. Right now, okay, let me back up for a second. When I said that, that was about 19, I think the last time we did a show together, you and I, was 1998, somewhere around there.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And life expectancy in the United States at that time was about pushing 80 years of age. Now it's it was like 78 years of age. Now it's like just over 80 years of age. And in Monaco, which has the highest per capita number of anti-aging physicians in the world. It also has the highest per capita number of millionaires, interestingly enough. So I guess you have to have somebody for anti-aging, unfortunately. But life expectancy is now pushing 91 years of age. But Monaco, interestingly, doesn't have the highest life expectancy. The place that has the highest life expectancy on the planet right now is, you ready, Art?
Okinawa.
No.
The Greek islands.
One more time, Art.
Greek islands?
No. Well, I'll give you one more shot.
I know it's not L.A.
No, it's not L.A.
What is it? All right, I don't know that.
How about Bergen County, New Jersey? The Bergen County women, if you're a woman living in Bergen County, chances are you're Asian. Chances are you are college educated. Chances are you have a management degree, a job in management, and that you follow a anti-aging lifestyle or a traditional Chinese medicine lifestyle of advanced prevention. And that has led to a life expectancy for the Asian County ladies, and this has been published by Harvard University and by the state of New Jersey, of a life expectancy of 91 and a half years of age. That's for women.
All right.
That contrasts with women living in South Dakota who happen to be American Indians, who are getting free health care, who are getting, through Indian Health Services, they get free health care, they get free medical care, they get free doctor, free drugs, free hospital, free across the board. And their life expectancy is, drumroll, 68 years of age.
Wow.
So that's a 20-something, almost 25-year anti-aging dividend.
Okay, now here's the problem I see with what you've said. I lived actually as much of my adult life in Asia, Japan, Okinawa, the Philippines, all Vietnam.
Right.
A lovely tour. So I understand and know what Asians eat, and I don't like all that much of it. And I think that what they eat has a very great deal to do with, the fact that they live so long. Certainly in Okinawa, that's true.
Well, perhaps that's part of the equation. But in Monaco, let me tell you, the diet is pretty, is
pretty rich
and pretty Americanized or Westernized.
I'll give you that. Monaco is an interesting place.
The champagne runs.
It does.
Flows easily.
Okay. Then what is your explanation for it?
Well, the explanation is really clear.
Money.
These people are following an anti-aging lifestyle. They're getting the best preventive medicine that is to be had on the planet right now. Both the ladies in Bergen County are right across the river from New York, and New York is a mecca of advanced medical technology and a big stronghold for anti-aging physicians. The women in Bergen County are availing themselves of these anti-aging therapies and preventive medicine therapies, and so are the uber wealthy in Monaco. And what I'm saying is that proof positive, the best kind of proof, not some laboratory rat or some test tube filled with some, black box molecule we're talking about. I'm talking about thousands or millions of people who are proving that anti-aging medicine, not anti-aging as we talked in the beginning, not the marketing of anti-aging, but anti-aging medicine, the kind of stuff that my doctors of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine are practicing, it's working. And it's working better than anybody ever thought possible.
All right, I believe you.
Okay, so in answer to the gentleman's question, that in
are we on course?
Yes, we are. We're on course,
right.
And we're on course at a much faster trajectory than anyone thought was possible.
All right. I'll buy it all. I will ask this. To get in on anti-aging medicines and therapy, it's expensive, right? Let's not kid anybody. It's expensive.
Well, it's expensive if you're going to do it with the best doctors at the best institutions,
Always.
with all the advanced technology that we have to offer, and the hormonal replacement therapy too.
Right.
That can be expensive. But if you're like me and you're a little frugal and you're on a budget, you can do an entire anti-aging medicine program to the level of about 90% of everything.
Yes.
For less than $4,000 a year.
$4,000. Well, that's still money.
It's money, but it's. I look at it as
all right. Straight out question. That $4,000 a year.
Yes.
What's it going to buy you?
It's going to buy you probably about 30 different nutrients every day.
No. What's it going to buy you in extended life?
Oh, well, how can I answer that?
I don't know.
I can talk in generalities.
Okay, do that.
Okay, and the generalities are, this is what these people are doing in Monaco or doing in Bergen County. This is what most people are doing who are on an anti-aging medicine program.
Okay.
And so the anti-aging dividend, as it exists today, if you want to choose between being an American Indian in North Dakota with free government health care versus the state-of-the-art anti-aging medicine, that dividend is about 25 years of age. So let's say you're not getting all the hormones and all the tests that you might have otherwise. You're still going to get 15, 20. You're still going to get 15 years.
15, 20 years. That's a long time to extend life.
And that's youthful lifespan. I'm not talking about stuck in a nursing home.
Yeah, I hear you.
With an IV in your arm and a tube up your nose.
Right,
I'm talking about, feeling and looking like a great 65-year-old when you're 75, 85, maybe 95.
Sounding good. All right, let's discuss Lex the Wonder Dog.
Okay.
That seems like quite a jump from where we just were, but I guess it relates somehow. How?
Okay, well, oh my goodness. Back when I was a young man, before I even knew you, Art.
Hundreds of years ago.
I had a medical practice in Wisconsin, and I had an Airedale that I acquired through Airedale Rescue. And he was 3 years old when I got him.
Yes.
And he was the cutest thing. I mean, this guy was so cute and so smart and such a great dog.
I already love him. Okay.
And he was like right out of FAO Schwartz. When he walked, you thought he was going to drop batteries out of his behind. He was that cute.
My daughter would say rainbows, but sure, go ahead.
Anyway, when I was involved from the very beginning of my medical practice, even though I did internal medicine, I did sports medicine, pain management, and rehabilitative medicine. And I had a large practice there in Wisconsin, and my practice was out of a farmhouse, a converted farmhouse. And my dog was right there in the front yard, and so all my patients got to see my dog. And, they noticed that at age 11, he's an Airedale, a big dog, and big dogs tend to get old around age 10, 11, 12. Mm-hmm. They don't last much longer than that, frankly.
Right.
And Lex was doing what big dogs do, and he was turning gray. And he had a gray nose, and his black and tan, flanks were turning all gray.
Got it.
And his, hindquarters, he was getting arthritis, and he couldn't move around too fast. And people would chide me. They'd say, "Hey, Dr. Klatz, you always talk about preventive medicine. You always talk about, longevity and all this stuff. How come your dog's growing old?" And I said, "Well, that's what dogs do. He's an old dog." And they said, "Well, that's no good." And they bugged me, and to the point where I said, "Well, maybe I'll try some of this stuff on my dog."
So you experimented on your dog.
I did. I experimented on him when I put him on the hormone replacement therapy and nutrients, and I put him on rehabilitative exercises, and I did some physical therapy with him.
Yes.
And I was amazed. I was frankly amazed how well he responded, because in a matter of weeks he started getting up and getting active, and in a matter of months he had actually turned completely transformed. His hair had gone almost completely gone. The gray was completely gone. His nose had gotten mostly black again. He had cataracts, the beginnings of cataracts. Those were, unnoticeable. He was active and healthy and bouncing around like a dog who was, according to my vet, to a dog that was 8 years of age.
Wow.
And then he started to burrow out from underneath the fence in the backyard to get out to chase after this golden retriever down the block. He liked blondes.
I understand. He had renewed interest.
Fixed,
yes.
But that's how well his rejuvenation was working.
Okay.
And Lex went on to the ripe old age of almost 17.
Oh, that's really old.
It's incredibly old. According to the American Kennel Club, the oldest Airedale they had on record was about 17 and a few months.
Well.
And Lex was just ready to turn 17, and he had a stroke, and I nursed him back from the stroke, and he was fine for a couple months, and then he took sick again, and he lost control of his,
yes.
things. And he just wasn't there anymore. When you look in someone's eyes,
right,
your dog's eyes, and they're looking back at you,
right,
they're there.
Sure.
Well, he wasn't there anymore. My dog had gone. Now, I still had the body of my dog, the shell.
Alzheimer's of some sort, or?
It's hard to say.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what was.
Okay, I get it. Well, but on the other hand, Doctor, okay, I get it.
And so I put him down.
Yeah, I get it. All right.
What I'm saying is I wasn't going to keep him around as an experiment because the quality of his life was gone. But
that's fair. That's fair. And I've got a counterpoint, maybe.
But he was the reason, and he was what showed me and convinced me that radical anti-aging was in fact possible.
Okay.
Because he had recovered so dramatically in such a short period of time.
All right. I had a cat. I lost my cat about a couple of months ago now. It was very hard. Very, very hard. My cat's name was Yeti. I had
right.
Yeti when you and I interviewed. Yeti died at 23 years of age.
Wow.
Yeti ate normal cat food.
Mm-hmm.
So, what? Good genetics?
Well, good genetics, good loving. I'm sure you took the best care of him.
Constantly,
and,
yes.
Maybe he liked being around with you. I don't know.
He totally did, yes. And he hung around as long as he could. He too had arthritis, and his hair had changed, but we took care of him very carefully and lovingly, and he really did. For a cat, that's old.
That's very old. But what I'm saying is the technology is here now with hormone replacement therapy and advanced antioxidant therapies and rehabilitative therapies, and there's also cytokines and stem cells and some other things that we have now that we didn't have before, where you can actually reach in and retool the metabolism and make an older animal into a younger animal. And it shows in life expectancy. It shows in quality of life and their energy levels and their performance.
Can you do the same thing to a human?
I certainly hope so. That's what I'm doing to myself every day. I've done that to my mom, to thousands of my patients, and my doctors of the academy are doing that for tens of millions of patients every day.
So, are you pooping rainbows? Sorry. I mean, are you getting...
I think I'm a little too close to really see. I'd have to have someone take a look from a distance.
I mean, are you... is your hair getting darker? Are your muscles building? Is your muscle mass building? Is whatever arthritis you had retreating? All the normal questions.
For myself, and I am not like a tremendous specimen. I'm not an Olympian. I'm not someone who was, a fantastic athlete throughout my life. I've been more of a cerebral kind of guy, more of a couch potato, frankly. And I'd spend, right now I spend about 4 hours a day on the internet, another 4 hours with my journals, and that's in addition to a full day's, work schedule.
Right.
So, people routinely guess me at 15 years younger than my chronological age.
Mm-hmm.
And am I 15 years younger biologically? Well, when I look at my laboratory results, I am probably 5, 7, 8 years younger biologically than I am if I was to, look at those measures compared to my chronological age. So I look better and I test out better younger than I do otherwise. And most of these patients who are doing anti-aging therapies do the same thing. They actually look better, and and on objective biological measurements, they test out younger as well. And we're able to do all kinds of things to reduce their risk factors for cancer, diabetes, heart disease, cancer. And so if you don't die of those 4 major leading causes of death,
yes,
then statistically you're going to see your 100th birthday and beyond.
Interesting. Your 100th birthday and beyond. Aren't there other break points? This is just Art Bell having an observation of life, but it seems to me like a lot of guys in their early to mid, even late 50s, tend to drop dead of heart attacks and stuff like that. And then, I don't know, it just seems to me that if they make it into their 60s, 65, 70, then they're going to make it for another whatever. It seems like there are points of hurdle. Is that?
That's probably true. I mean, from a statistical point of view, as a man, you're probably, looking at 50, 55 is a very dangerous age.
Right.
And if you can get past that into 60s, then you're probably going to be all right until your early 70s. But, every year you live longer, it's better. The statistics just get better and better for living that much longer.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's really pretty exciting.
New listener. She thinks, Art, you seem off tonight. You're angry. No, Holly, I'm not. You are a new listener, and I'm glad to have you, but I'm not at all angry. In fact, I'm in a superb mood. I'm not the wuss of a talk show host that you're probably used to listening to, Holly. And I have strong opinions. I have a very dry sense of humor, and you'll eventually get used to me. Dr. Klatz, welcome back.
Well, thank you, Art. Can I mention our website?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, of course you can.
Thanks. Everything I'm talking about between my dog Lex and hormone replacement therapy and some of the costs of these therapies and, probably everything that we're going to talk about. Not
right.
Everything, but, most things are online at worldhealth.net, worldhealth.net. And that's the official website of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. We have 26,000 physician members in 120 countries around the world. And if you go to worldhealth.net, there's a free newsletter that's called Longevity Magazine. And every week we go through about 400 journals, just pulling the articles that have to do with improving the quality and the quantity of the human lifespan, or improving human performance, whether it be, sports performance or memory or the prevention of cancer. It's really useful stuff, and people love it. It's award-winning, and you can sign up for it for free, only if they're your listener, Art.
Now that's a pretty good deal.
It is. But they can sign up for it for free at worldhealth.net, and it's
how will you know?
Non-commercial, by the way. We don't sell anything.
I get it. How will you know if they're my listeners?
Well, they'll just say that they are.
Okay. And
if they're not, they should be, right?
Yeah, if they're not, don't even give them another minute. All right, so back.
Thank you, Art.
You bet. Back for 1 second to Lex the Wonder Dog. Did you do anything for Lex during the course of your experiment that you could not legally do to a person today? Yeah, think hard. That's a hard question.
Let me think. There probably was not.
Okay.
There probably was not. You see, Lex got treated back when, and so stem cells were not available, and I didn't use stem cells on Lex. If I did, I'm sure I would have gotten a better result. But I got a great result with him. I mean, I got lots.
Oh no, I understand. I was just curious. I mean, it was experimental.
No. Everything that we did with him was easily available, and really, that's what I'd like the listeners to understand is that you can do about 70% of an anti-aging medicine program without even a physician. If you're willing to read the journals, and not the journals, the books, and I have 42 books in print right now on anti-aging, and you don't have to read my books, but I mean, the world is full of books on anti-aging medicine right now by really good people, and not just me. If you want to read this stuff and you want to put together your own anti-aging medicine program, it'll work. And you can do about 60-70% of it without any doctor's intervention whatsoever.
Amazing.
And if you have access to a laboratory, that's 80% of the program.
All right, let's reach out now and talk about stem cells for a moment. How useful and in what way can stem cells be used to either extend life or repair life?
Well, we're at the point of repairing life right now, not quite extending life with stem cells, though. It's hard to say. It's really two sides of the same coin. When you fix something, it works better, and when it works better, you last longer.
Well, I mean, if you fix something, then a lot of times you're extending it because if you didn't fix it, well, then, terminal time.
Okay, but with regard to stem cells, the technology is such at this moment where stem cells work fantastically well for musculoskeletal problems. For joints, you can rebuild joints. You can improve, fibromyalgia responds very nicely to both platelet-rich plasma injections and stem cells. Joint, arthritic joints, torn ligaments. There is hardly anything in orthopedics that cannot benefit from stem cell or platelet-rich plasma or cytokine therapies.
Are we talking about fetal stem cells?
Well, let's not get stuck on the word fetal. It doesn't.
But let's tell the truth. There's two ways, right? Fetal stem cells, and then you can take, I believe, adult. You can take adult stem cells. Yes.
You can take stem cells from amniotic fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now that's not you're not chopping up fetuses.
No.
That. There's plenty of cells in the amniotic fluid.
Right.
You can take stem cells from fat, which is adult stem cells.
Mm-hmm.
You can take stem cells from the placenta.
Okay. I'm sorry, doctor. Are adult stem cells as effective as fetal stem cells?
It depends on what you're using it for.
Okay.
The closer you get to fetal stem cells, the more active the cells are, and the more pluripotent they are. The more they're able to work and transform into various tissues to correct various different problems. The scary part is, well, there's two things. First of all, everybody, nobody wants to take an aborted fetus and use it for laboratory experiments.
No.
That's out of the question. It's immoral, and doctors don't do that. So we don't do fetal cell stem cells, though you can get fetal cells from the placenta and from the amniotic fluid, and you can get from other sources.
Sure.
But you can do almost everything you want to do in stem cells with adult-derived stem cells or with amniotic stem cells or with placental stem cells or with stem cells from fat or from the back of the eye or the back of the nose. There's plenty of sources of stem cells.
Okay.
I mean, immense amounts of sources of stem cells. And if you really need to use fetal tissue, if there is some unique purpose, like, for example, there may be some rare uses of fetal stem cells for repairing spinal cord. There are something like 700,000 or 800,000 fetuses that are sitting in freezers in laboratories just in the United States from in vitro fertilization projects, where they took where they took eggs and sperm and made them into little like blastocytes,
right? Sure.
4-day-old things, and these things are just going to sit there forever until they throw them away. So you can say, why would you toss this stuff down the drain when you can use this to save someone's life or to take someone who's a quadriplegic and give them the opportunity to walk again?
Well, because of people's morality, religion, and politics.
I think it's mostly politics. I don't hear, even when I talk to people, or I talk to people around the country all the time, and the most religious of them all do not have problems, by and large, with stem cells that are derived from the right source, that do not involve abortions. If it doesn't involve abortions, usually I hear no complaints.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. All right. So stem cells.
I think it's more the politics. And it's used as an excuse to hinder advancements in certain areas. Unfortunately, it's said that there are more politics in medicine than there are politics, and that's been my observation.
All right, Doctor, where can we go with stem cells? You've told me where we are and in repair of some things. When we really grasp this technology fully, where can we go with stem cells? What could be done?
The belief is that we're going to be able to use stem cells to repair every organ in the body, that we're going to be able to regrow tissue, all types of tissue. We're going to be able to repair all types of tissue, and we may be able to cure diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, liver disease, heart disease.
Wow. That's
anything.
quite a claim.
Yeah, because what you have is you have the basic building blocks of the cells of your body. That's what stem cells are. These are the things, when you cut yourself, what happens? The body forms a scar, it forms a scab, and it sends out chemical messengers. And in the chemical messengers, it says, hey, come fix this torn tissue.
Right.
And what goes to fix the torn tissue? Stem cells. So we have stem cells in our bodies all the time, but as we get older, we lose a number of stem cells and we lose the efficiency of those stem cells. And so if you could have a new supply of young, aggressive, healthy, well-tuned stem cells, then you would be able to repair yourself from almost any injury. And that's the promise of stem cell technology, and that's why it's so exciting. And unfortunately, why so many different people are fighting over it.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to telomeres. Telomeres are, am I not saying that correctly?
No, telomeres
is that okay?
Correct.
All right. These are like, I don't know, like a burning fuse inside of you. In other words, they start out. Is it? They start out at a certain length, I guess, at birth, or by the time you reach. I don't know. When do the telomeres start getting shorter? Right away, or is it?
They start to shorten immediately. The telomeres are the end pieces, the end caps of the DNA. DNA are like this helix. They're kind of like shoelaces.
Right.
You know how you have the little plastic on the ends of shoelaces so the ends don't fray?
Sure.
Well, unfortunately, that's our telomeres. And they just get short with every time the cell duplicates itself. It reproduces itself because the cells are always constantly repairing and reproducing themselves.
Yes.
Okay, and depending on the cell, if it's your skin, it happens very quickly. If it's your blood vessel, if it's a red blood cell, I think it's like 90 days or 120 days. If it's, brain tissue or something else or bone tissue, it may be a couple of years before it reproduces. But all the cells in our body are reproducing themselves. And so what happens is as these cells turn over, the telomeres, get shorter and shorter and shorter. They're like a little clicker switch, if you will, on your copy machine. It tells you how many copies you made.
Right.
And when it gets to a certain shorter length, it starts to, the end of the chromosome that is covered by the telomere starts to become exposed. And when that area of the chromosome becomes more exposed, things happen that are associated with aging. And the body changes in its production of proteins, in its ability to repair DNA, in its ability to be more youthful. And so you don't want really short chromosomes.
No.
Or really short telomeres, rather.
No.
Because as the telomeres become shorter, they become more aged in their manifestation.
I think mine are already short enough. If we could increase the length of these telomeres, if there was technology to have a little blue pill for the telomeres, whatever, if they could be longer, would that change things?
Well, that's a good question. That's a very good question. The belief is that it would. Experimentally, we see that animals that we've been able to treat with experimental drugs, where we've been able to increase the length of their telomeres, do become more active and more youthful.
But it's not a total key.
It's not a total key. It's not a complete rejuvenation.
Huh.
And the other issue is that nobody really dies because their telomeres are too short.
No?
They get older, but they die of old age disease. They don't die because their telomeres are too short and that their cells stop reproducing.
So
it's not the whole story is what I'm saying, and our understanding of it is not yet complete. And worse than that, we don't have a good pill for reversing it yet. We have some nutrients, things like exercise will help to prevent telomere shortening, and antioxidants will help to prevent telomere shortening, and some oriental herbs will help as well. And there are a couple of chemicals, but the chemicals, unfortunately, are toxic in other ways. So we don't have the answer. We don't have the magic bullet yet for fixing telomeres.
All right. So even if we could be kept alive through the other medicines that you have mentioned, and we could stay alive so long that our telomeres just cease to exist any longer.
Well, no, they don't cease to exist. They just the end pieces, again, they're the end piece of the chromosome, and they get shorter and shorter and shorter. And as the telomeres become shorter, they expose certain areas of DNA that lead to age-related changes in the body. But they don't disappear entirely.
All right, hold tight. I think I want to know more about that. I picture this little frayed telomere. A lot of questions, according to what I'm seeing on the wormhole. So that always sounds strange if you don't explain it, right? The wormhole is people who are time traveler members have two privileges. One, they can go back and listen to old shows anytime they want. And two, they can use the wormhole, which means you can send me a message as we do the program. So when I refer to it, that's what I'm talking about. Doctor, welcome back. When we were talking about telomeres, and I was picturing them as these, I don't know, little sticks frayed on the end. No?
More like shoelaces.
Shoelaces frayed on the end.
Yeah, the DNA is a helix, and there are two strands. Most people, though, there is some talk about some unique individuals who have more than two strands of DNA, but that's another story. That's more for ufology. But
well, that's awfully interesting. Anyway, are there really people with two strands of DNA? Seriously?
Well, we have two strands, but there is some talk that people could have 3 or 4 strands of DNA.
Well, I would think 4. In other words, 2 double-stranded.
Yeah.
Have you actually seen that?
I have not. I'm just mentioning this out of the blue because it's late at night and it seemed like a fun thing to say.
It is. It is. I can imagine all kinds of things.
That it's possible. And I've read a couple of things on the internet where they say that they found some evidence of people with more than double-stranded DNA. I can't say that I've confirmed that, and it's really not. I'm not that kind of researcher, but it would be interesting if it was true, wouldn't it?
Oh yes, it sure would.
But telomeres, the end pieces of the chromosome, are there to protect the DNA, and they do get shorter as people live. Every time the DNA replicates itself through mitotic division, they click off and they get a little shorter, a little shorter, a little shorter, a little shorter. And in the process of doing that, they open up little sites on the chromosome that leads to the production of proteins that are associated with aging-related problems. Mm-hmm. And so the thought is, if you could reestablish the original length of the chromosome of the telomere on the end piece of the chromosome, you would go back to a more youthful physiology. And there is some clinical evidence, there is some certainly laboratory evidence to suggest that is in fact true.
How can you imagine that might be achieved?
Well, there are chemicals that will regrow the telomere. And there are activities that will lengthen the telomere, including very active sports. And that may be why athletes, seem to grow older at a slower rate. But it's basically a chemical driven by chemistry, and there are some Chinese herbs that seem to have a beneficial effect.
Okay.
And also antioxidants, high levels of antioxidants protect the telomere from shortening.
Why do the Chinese have all these interesting things that seem to work? My wife, by the way, is only 4 feet 10 inches tall. When she was young in the Philippines, she took tall pills from the Chinese. Didn't work.
Well,
but she's gorgeous. She's absolutely gorgeous. 4'10", so there you go. Anyway, so the Chinese do really seem to have something for everything nearly, and whether it works or not, but apparently some of them work.
Some of them do work, and they work amazingly well. We're kind of kept in the dark in the Western world. There's more to the world than just Western medicine. There is traditional Chinese medicine, which is a body of knowledge that's gone back over 10,000 years.
Right.
We have Ayurvedic medicine, which is the Indian form of medicine that goes back like 6, 7, 8,000 years, maybe longer. And then you have in Nepal and the Tibetan medicine. And then you have the empiric schools in the United States, which are, naturopathy and chiropractic and osteopathy and, a half dozen others that have been suppressed by allopathic medicine, which is what we call MD medicine. But MD medicine was basically came out of the Rockefellers, and they bought up all the empiric schools, and they made them into MD schools, and they snuffed out a lot of the empirical medicine that was associated with it in that day in favor of patent medicines. We talked at the very beginning about how expensive medicines are.
Sure.
Well, patent medicines, cost, a tenth of a penny to produce, and they can sell them for, $1 or $100 a pill because they're patented. Whereas the empirical medicines, which are, natural medicines, they might cost, 3 cents, 5 cents a pill because that's, they only cost a penny to produce, and they're not patentable. And so from a business, again, my position was that we have let medicine become a business instead of a healing art. And that's why medicine is so, messed up.
Screwed up. Completely messed up.
Nice way to say it.
Yeah.
It's we used to call it something on toast. And it really is.
Bottom line here, folks, seems to be if you can afford about $4,000 a month, beginning when you're how old, doctor?
I would have no hesitation recommending starting an anti-aging program as soon as someone sees the first signs of aging, which is usually in one's 30s. But in the future, we may start doing anti-aging interventions in utero. As a matter of fact, we're doing them now. When we find children who are born or who are in utero with heart problems, we go in and we do open heart surgery inside the uterus. Genetics, we're discovering ways to treat genetic diseases in the uterus. So, I mean, in the years to come, we're going to play with people's genetics and their metabolism earlier and earlier and earlier. But for right now, given the state of the art, I would say once someone starts to feel or notice some aging-related disorder or discovers that they have a predisposition because of their genetics to cancer or heart disease or diabetes, that they should start taking care of it right then and there. And if that's in their 20s, that's great.
A child born right now could expect to live how long?
The talk is among the insurance companies for women, girls who are born today, seeing a life expectancy of 120.
120 years old. Wow. Okay, doctor, hold tight. My God, I remember, and I'm sure many of you do, that one day, you go into the bathroom and you're going to be a nice day today, and you look and, my God, there's a gray hair. What do? You don't talk about anti-aging. You pull the sucker out. I'm Art Bell, and this is Midnight in the Desert. Please remain where you are.
Dark Matter News. I'm Leo Ashcraft. Well, maybe the mystery of the Black Knight UFO has been solved by a YouTube novice in just 11 minutes. Well, the narrator even apologized for his amateur presentation. But after an 11-minute do-it-yourself filming attempt, YouTube user NUA appears to have successfully debunked the 1998 photographs of the so-called Black Knight satellite. His video presents photographic evidence from UFO conspiracists who claim they had further proof of the mysterious alien satellite. But alien researchers have been calling the myth one of the most convincing pieces of evidence for the existence of intelligent extraterrestrial life for the past 17 years, while some claim it has orbited Earth for at least 13,000 years. But NUA says different. In his video titled Black Knight Satellite UFO Documentary, Truth Exposed, 2015, he claims to conclusively prove the Black Knight, as photographed in 1998 in NASA images, was nothing more than a satellite thermal blanket lost by the crew of the Endeavour space shuttle as they worked on the developing International Space Station. And in fact, after releasing the pictures in 1998, NASA said it was a thermal blanket, but it did not stop a wave of conspiracists branding it a huge cover-up. The legend of the alien satellite seems to have been retrospectively dated back to 1899, when Nikola Tesla announced he was picking up radio waves from space, prompting people to suggest something alien was out there. A moment caught on video as a ghost is moving a chair across the floor of a haunted house in front of a stunned paranormal investigator. Ghost hunters who captured the footage while probing unusual goings-on at the property said the sight left them gobsmacked. The spooky footage shows the moment a chair was apparently moved by a ghost across the floor of a haunted house. The investigators said it is strong evidence of the existence of ghostly spirits. A giant, ancient monolith has been discovered off of Sicily's coast, and it may be up to 10,000 years old. A 130-foot stone monolith has been discovered in the sea off of the Italian coast, and researchers say is at least 9,500 years old, but carbon dating says it may even be older. The find was made during a high-resolution mapping survey of the seafloor off the coast of Sicily. The stone is in 131 feet of water at about 37 miles south of the Italian island. The regularly shaped stone is about 39 feet long and is estimated to weigh 15 tons. It has 3 24-inch holes, 2 in its sides, and a third one at one end that passes completely through from one side to the other. While the monolith's original function remains a mystery, one guess made by the researchers is that it may have been used as a lighthouse, with the hole in the end holding a torch as a beacon. While the researchers have dated the monolith's age to approximately 9,500 BP, because at the time the region was inundated by the sea, and due to the dramatic rise in global sea levels that followed the end of the last ice age. But radiocarbon dating results from encrusted seashell deposits on the stone have dated it back to approximately 40,000 BCE. Of course, this could simply mean that the original stone was taken from the sea by the monolith's crafters, but this does suggest that its construction could be much older. This find, along with other sites such as in Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, indicate that our ancestors were far more capable technologically than what is commonly accepted by mainstream science. The researchers address this in their publication, The Monolith Found, supporting this technological capability, stating it was made of a single large block. It required a cutting, extraction, transportation, and installation, which undoubtedly reveals important technical skills and great engineering. So that belief that our ancestors lacked the knowledge, skill, and technology to exploit marine resources or make sea crossings is progressively being abandoned. I'm Leo Ashcraft for Dark Matter News.
If you want to come on the phone, it's area code 952-225-5278. That's 952-225-5278. If you want to come on Skype, go ahead and groan. I'm going to give out the instructions because a lot of people don't know. If you have a smartphone of virtually any description, download Skype. It's free, right? Skype is free. And then when you get it, become familiar with it and add us to your contacts. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's simple. On Skype, you just hit the little plus sign, like add a contact. And if you're in North America, you put in MITD 51. That's as in midnight in the desert, MITD 51. If you're outside North America, in the rest of the world, and we cover it all, same deal. Just hit the little plus sign, add MITD 55. That's MITD 55 in the rest of the world, and you can call us for free. And when you're on a smartphone, you'll sound like $1 million. And by the way, if you're listening on your smartphone, yes, there is a solution. If you're listening, just hit pause on what you're listening to when the phone call goes through. So it all works, and we're going to be using that a lot tomorrow night when we play a game called, you want to know, go to my Facebook site. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, back now to Dr. Klatz. A couple of other really important questions I want to get out.
Art, let me just finish my answer.
Yeah, sure.
Back in early 2000, the National Institute of Health, which is a very conservative organization, had a meeting of their biotechnologists. And even in this meeting, they were talking about life expectancies shortly of 120, 125 years of age.
Right.
So, we're talking about things that people may not have heard of, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility at all. And frankly, I'm predicting life expectancies of 150 years of age and beyond. We're really on the cusp of of incredible breakthroughs across the board, not just in new drug therapies. There's 467 new drugs under development that any one of which could be a breakthrough in anti-aging. Mm-hmm. But there's new breakthroughs in energy medicine and in light medicine and in natural, more natural energies that can be harnessed to help rejuvenate the body and to rejuvenate the cells. And our doctors are working on that, and it's exciting stuff. And you mentioned about healthcare being so expensive. This stuff is cheap. This stuff is almost free, but it's that there's not enough competition, that we have an FDA and a government that hinders competition and prevents these technologies from seeing the light of day.
I've got it. When we're talking about 120 to 150 or more years, are we talking about productive years?
Oh, absolutely. Who wants to be there? And if they're in a
nobody,
if they're a grape. Not grape, a raisin.
Yeah, raisin.
Nobody wants that.
Right.
We're talking about, seeing, the oldest that I want to see myself or anyone else become is a great 65-year-old.
Okay.
And if you look at the people in Hollywood, just look at some of the, the Hollywood actors and the actresses. These people are in their 70s and 80s and 85.
I know. It's very suspicious.
Fantastic.
It is very suspicious, Doctor. And it makes me want to ask you how many, I'm asking you for a guess only, Hollywood stars, do you think are using this high-end anti-aging regimen?
Oh, my God, 90% plus.
Yeah, that's what I figured, actually.
90% plus. I have a huge number of my doctors out in Hollywood. and in California. California probably the largest concentration on the planet.
Figures.
There's a huge amount out there, and these people are really availing themselves of it in all ways possible because it works. It works. And everything that I've told you is available, explanations of all this and videos, too, explaining some of the more complex issues like telomeres are available on my website under Immortality Now. I do interviews with the top scientists around the world, and it's Immortality Now. It's on worldhealth.net, and it's all free for your listeners, of course.
Okay. I want to ask you about cancer. The big C.
Okay.
Where are we with cancer? I mean, are we ever going to cure cancer?
Well, there are those who say that it has been cured. It was cured back in the 1930s, and then it was cured again in the 40s, and in the 50s, and the 60s.
And what are they talking about?
If you listen to any of the cancer researchers, the cure is always right around the bend. And, oh boy, this is like I said, there's more politics in medicine than there are
just tell the truth. What's the deal with cancer?
I think that there are many, okay, how can I say this without getting myself into too much trouble? There are other countries in the world that have a much higher cure rate than we do here in the U.S.
Why?
Because they are open to everything that works, and there is less regulatory harassment of exploring new therapies and natural therapies. And so if you have cancer, you might be better off availing yourself of places such as Germany, Great Britain, Japan, for these Korea, cancer therapies.
Do the statistics bear out what you're saying? In other words,
yes, absolutely.
Talk to me about percentages of cure rates for any given cancer you want to talk about here versus somewhere else.
Look, we've made some good inroads into childhood cancers, specifically leukemia. We've made some good results into certain forms of cancer like prostate cancers, or the cure rate has improved dramatically.
Okay, my question, Doctor, was comparing cure rates here to there.
Better over there.
How much better?
Probably a third to half.
My God.
Yeah. And there are doctors here who are doing a lot of cancer therapies that are out of the box, and they're afraid to talk about them. And they're using alternative cancer therapies, and they're mixing both traditional allopathic cancer therapies that are, the standard of care with, alternative therapies, and getting much better results. People living longer, having a better quality of life, and in some cases having outright cures.
All right. 15 years ago, on my radio program, Doctor, I said that marijuana should be legal.
You were absolutely right.
It's happening now, slowly but surely. Here in Nevada, we've got medical marijuana. In Colorado and Washington, they've got more than that. They've got go buy what you want marijuana. Mm-hmm. And we're in the middle of a revolution, finally. 15 years ago when I said it, people said I was a devil, and I was leading people into a horrible lifestyle where they will rape and pillage and God knows what.
Ridiculous.
I really took a lot of heat.
Marijuana has been the cornerstone of drug therapy for the world. For the last 10,000 years. Yeah,
giving Dr. Gupta credit here, because I'm just a radio talk show host. He's a medical consultant to a gigantic network, and he blew the top off this, a couple of years ago now? Mm-hmm. So I give him credit for that. And now you tell me what you think of marijuana. And there are various forms, oils, there's a plain old smoke in it, and so forth. Does it help?
Oh, it helps tremendously. There's 100. Last time I looked, there was more than 104 different cannabinoids, which are ingredients in cannabis,
right,
which is the marijuana plant. And each one of them has a separate effect. And you do not have to get high. The THC, which is tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the component of cannabis that gets you, that has a psychoactive component that gives you that buzz.
Yes.
That can be deleted from marijuana, and you can buy it legal. You can buy marijuana legally, by the way, in all 50 states. You just can. It's not the THC. The THC is what's the illegal part of it. The legal part of it is the other 103 cannabinoids. The other 103 cannabinoids do tremendous things with regard to improvement in immunity, improvement, protection against. They have antioxidant effects. They have protection against some aging-related disorders. They are good for arthritis. I mean, the list is on and on and on. They help with sleep, help with anxiety. Some of the cannabinoids stimulate appetite, and which is very good for people with cancer because their appetite is shot because the cancer itself in late stages produces these chemicals in the body that ruin your appetite, that just make you feel horrible. And the marijuana helps that. It also, there's some components of the plant that actually inhibit appetite. So there's all these various effects that you can get out of this one plant. And that's why for thousands of years, marijuana has been one of the most ubiquitous medicinal herbs on the planet, and is the real reason, by the way, why cannabis was outlawed, because it was, I'm sure you know this, Art, but the original Model T Ford, the first car, the first mass-produced automobile, was designed to run on what, gasoline? No. It was designed to run on hemp.
Yeah, hemp. I know.
Okay.
I know. This is another case of idiots. I don't want to sound like Donald Trump, but idiots running the country. I can't think of anything particularly negative about marijuana. Even in the getting high part, you get high. You get no headache from being high. When it goes away, it doesn't leave you with a hangover. It just fades away. People driving on marijuana, not that anybody would recommend that, but they're liable to be the ones doing 45 miles an hour, not 120.
Right.
So it has none of the horrible bad effects that they assigned to it that I'm aware of.
Right, but it did get in the way of certain industries. It got in the way of the gasoline industry.
How about booze? It got in the way
of the textile industry because hemp clothing lasts forever.
Yep. How about booze? How about booze, Doctor? I mean, if you compare the two, booze is horribly damaging. It costs billions and billions every year in the economy from the damage that alcohol does. So I would think they would have a big interest in suppressing cannabis until it doesn't exist, if they could do it.
Right, and hemp paper, by the way. The Constitution of the United States was published on hemp paper.
That's right.
George Washington was the largest hemp farmer in the United States until the 1930s. You could pay your income taxes with hemp.
Mm-hmm. There's people out there going,
it was a major cash crop of the United States.
Are they really saying this? Yes.
This is all fact. This is all absolute fact. And what happened was there was a conspiracy. I don't generally believe in conspiracy theories, but there was a conspiracy among industrialists and the government to outlaw marijuana because it got in the way of paper manufacturers and clothing manufacturers and pharmaceuticals and a few other companies. And they wanted to get rid of it, and by God, they did, and they outlawed it. Mm-hmm. And then they compounded that crime by turning it into the biggest boogeyman in the war on drugs.
What did they do? Make it a schedule? In some places, I think it is still a Schedule II drug, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And that's right.
It's a felony, and you could go to jail for many
and
years.
That's right in there with like heroin and crack cocaine.
Yep.
In fact,
LSD.
LSD. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So what a horrible thing we did.
Schedule 2, by the way. Schedule 1.
Schedule 1.
Okay. Even worse. Yeah.
Even worse. Yes. Horrible. 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 And so if somebody has cancer right now, and I have some friends that do, they use marijuana, and it helps them tremendously with the symptoms they have. Number one, from the, these body-wrecking drugs that people have to take for cancer, these chemicals. It helps them fight the nausea. It helps them feel better, and it's against the law.
Right.
So, what would the downsides medically of marijuana be?
Well, I mean, you don't want to. You need to understand that it is there is a psychoactive component in it, unless you get the THC depleted oils, which you can. You can get the THC. I have hemp oil right here that I use for joint aches and arthritis, and I use it for if I get a cut or a scrape. You can use the hemp oil for your skin as a cosmetic. So if you get the THC-deleted hemp oil, you have all the ingredients minus the THC, and it's legal in 50 states. The only downside that I can think of with the marijuana is you don't want to operate motor vehicles with it, and you may end up getting a little sloppy or foolish or lazy if you imbibe on it at the wrong time.
Do you know, I think that was one of the main things that drove making pot illegal was the government feared that people would become less productive. At least they used that excuse, and there might be something to it. I mean, yes, somebody might smoke pot and sit back and contemplate the world when they might otherwise have gone and cut the lawn. I don't know. But
they can also have a 6-pack of beer.
Oh, well, look. The danger to society from alcohol is far, far bigger than anything from marijuana, as I mentioned. Right. If I were given a choice, you don't ever want to face anybody driving in the other lane on anything at all. But given a choice between somebody on pot, somebody on alcohol, a drunk driver, I'll take the pot guy anytime because he's probably crawling along.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other interesting thing about marijuana is that it's immune activating drug.
Oh.
It stimulates the immune system, and so it has another benefit for people who have autoimmune disorders such as multiple sclerosis and also arthritis and also cancer. So there's a whole lot of good news to this, and the government themselves published these papers back in the 1970s saying that this substance had tremendous benefit, but it was suppressed. The research was suppressed because I guess they didn't want to get caught, being at odds with themselves.
Not only that, but our jails, Doctor, are filled to the bursting point with many, many, many people who arrested for some level of marijuana, something or another. If we were to empty the jails of the marijuana arrests, they'd be pretty empty.
Well, then we'd have room for the illegal aliens.
Oh, my. Well, all right. Listen, I did promise everybody that they could try and call in and ask a question or two. You're a very honest, frank, open doctor. I appreciate that. Your website, if you guys want to know more, by the way, is immortalitynow.net. That's immortalitynow.net. Now, it's a little bit misleading. Or maybe I guess I should say hopeful. We're not going to get immortality now.
Well, it depends on what you consider immortality, Art. I'm not looking to be Methuselah at 969 years of age. But if I get to be 150, we're all,
Well, immortality, it's a word. It has a meaning,
immortality.
right? Practical immortality?
Practical immortality.
Right. Not true absolute immortality. Right.
No.
All right, that's
absolute.
good. We'll go with that. Dr. Ronald Klatz, and he actually coined the term anti-aging medicine. So we've been talking about anti-aging and a whole lot of other things through the night. If you have comments, now's the time. We're going to go to the lines, I promise. So here we go. Doctor, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to Ben on Skype. You're on the air with Dr. Klatz. Hi.
Hi, Art. Ben in Tucson. Dr. Klatz, just curious. Just another method of ingesting the THC is to juice the leaves. That's what I do. And
Okay.
You don't get high, you don't get stoned or anything like that. But if you juice the leaves, you get all the nutrients without the THC. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you've heard of that before, but that worked very well.
I have. In order to activate the THC, you need to heat it. It's very interesting. The THC only becomes a psychoactive chemical. There's a chemical reaction that occurs when you heat it. So people will bake the marijuana into brownies. That'll get them high. Or they'll smoke it. That'll get them high as well, or they'll vape it.
But if you juice it, you don't have that problem, which is the reason why I do it. Now, my question for you is this: lifestyle diseases. So the number 1 and 2 killers in the U.S. still are overnutrition, eating too much, and smoking. So now, in order to live to all these ages, 120, whatever, you're going to have to stop smoking and eating too much and then do everything else. Am I correct or no?
Well, there are some people who have smoked a long time and lived to a prodigious old age. There's
True.
a lot of people who are in their 90s who've smoked their whole life.
True.
I guess it depends on what you smoke. If you're, there is some argument that natural tobacco is not as bad for you as industrialized tobacco. If you look at natural tobacco, it's pretty clean stuff. If you look at the stuff that they sell you in a cigarette, there can be as much as 1,000 different chemicals, including some radioactive ones, added to the cigarettes.
Wow. You're not a smoker, are you?
No, not at all.
All right. You do hear these stories, though, about people living to be 100 and whatever, and they're sitting there happily smoking away.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not endorsing smoking by any means.
Right.
But I'm just saying that if you're going to smoke, smoke the cleanest thing you possibly can, and that's natural tobacco.
Boy, I bet the tobacco companies wish they could put you on the air.
I could be like one of those Lucky Strike doctors from the AMA back in the 1950s.
They actually can't put anybody on the air. Let's go to Utah, I think, and you're on the air. Hi.
Art, hearkening back to what we said before, the problem with the U.S. medical industry is not the doctors. I want to make that real clear. It's a lack of competition and lack of availability of new therapies that would be competition with drugs. It would drive the drug prices down and would make more medical care available to a larger number. It's a lack of competition, and the competition is held at the state that it is, by the FDA, by the state licensing boards, by the entire system. So we need a system-wide repair.
Okay. Having said that, person in Utah, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
This is Tammy.
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I have a question for the doctor. I was recently diagnosed with cervical spine stenosis, and it was caused from every one of my thoracic and half of my lumbar vertebrae are herniated. Do you have any advice for me?
Okay. I'm going to stop you, ma'am. I'm sorry, but look, we have a medical doctor on the air. One thing medical doctors don't do, I won't allow him to do, and I doubt he would if I even did allow him to do. We're not making diagnosis on the air. We're not going to recommend treatment on the air. That's not a right thing to do, is it, doctor?
Well, it's very hard to do it. It's not very fair to the patient either, because, all I can give you, at the best I could do is give you the knee-jerk response, which, may or may not be right, and chances are it's not going to be right, because without examining the patient, you really can't know. There's dozens of different types of spinal stenosis.
There you go. Exactly.
I'm sorry. I wish I could help you out further.
All right. Another caller. Hi. You're on the air.
Hey, Art. This is Jeff calling from Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Okay.
I don't want a diagnosis, but I want to give a little bit of background. 3.5 years ago, I had a A1C of 9.1.
Okay, look, there you go. It's technical. Sir, do you have a question that relates to what the doctor is here for?
Yes, I wanted to get his views on ketogenic diets, intermittent fasting, and the conventional doctors going along with the American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, when they're often off base and really not even science-based.
All right, doctor.
I can't argue with the caller. I think that so many of these societies are based in science that's 30 years old. They don't look at the latest technology. They don't look at the latest breakthroughs. They don't look at the latest research. And they're dogmatic. And they have an opinion, and they won't change it for almost anything. There is a lot of data to support, various types of diets, including the ketogenic diet. Ketogenic diet is very good for a lot of different problems, including neurological problems, by the way. Ketogenic is being advanced for people with Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative disease, as well as other problems, because the ketogenic diet has many benefits in stimulating tissue repair and in using an alternative energy system within the body. Our bodies run on not just glucose, but on ketones as well. With regard to fasting, intermittent fasting,
yes,
great stuff. It helps to detox the body, and there has never been a time in the history of man where the human species has been subjected to the level of toxicity from our environment. We're being literally poisoned by our food, our water, our air, and radio waves, dare I say, not your radio waves from your show, Art, but
no, ours are clean.
Waves.
Our radio waves are
yours
clean.
Yours are healthy. But the environment we live in is polluted to the max, and it's taking an effect on health across the board. And people need to wake up to that, because even with the best drug therapies, with the best exercise, and with the best lifestyle, if you don't clean up your environment, you're in big, deep doo-doo.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to Skype and Anthony. Anthony, you're on.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, hi there. Fine.
Hi, that's good. Hello, doctor. How are you?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Art. Just wanted to tell you one thing real quick. Is I've been right there from the beginning with you.
Yes, sir.
I've never made a call till now.
Okay.
Just sorry, I found you too fascinating to interrupt. But anyways, I have a real quick question. I hope this isn't out of line, but you were talking about smoking marijuana.
Yes.
And I have a real problem with that. See,
why?
I'm an extreme empath, and I was actually going to call once, Art, to help you with your OB problem. But anyways,
with my what problem?
Out of body experience.
Oh, I see. That wasn't a problem. That was cool.
Well, no, I didn't mean problem. I meant to help.
Anyway,
you.
Go ahead, sir. We don't
Easy.
only have so much time.
No problem.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what I want to ask is, I really get too paranoid, emotional, and way too much on it. I have
on what, sir? On what?
On smoking pot.
Oh, okay.
And I have sarcoidosa, and it's a real bad side of it.
Okay, well, you know what? Then don't smoke it.
Well, I want to know: is there a type that I can smoke? Because I've heard that there is.
Okay.
Probably.
Tell me.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, there's probably at least 50 different strains of marijuana that are commercially available and that are cultivated specifically for its level of this substance or that substance, and they have different effects. And so in places like Colorado, you can go into these marijuana, and California too, these marijuana dispensaries that are really, they're more pharmacies than they are anything else. and they will tell you, really, really carefully and to the letter what the benefits of this strain versus that strain are.
Right.
And so people who get, there are some strains of marijuana that do tend to make people paranoid or uncomfortable, and there are other strains that are much more mellow and are much more relaxing, and there are other strains that are very energizing, and there are other strains that are frankly supposedly open the third eye and are good for meditation and good for psychic experience. Now, I don't know how much of that is actual real, but I know that there is. It's kind of like having a pizza. There's pizza and there's pizza and there's pizza. Some of them taste a little more Mediterranean. Some of them taste a little more California. Some of them taste a little more, like Pizza Hut, right?
Right.
So there are different flavors. And if the caller does have a problem with anxiety, he might be able to find a strain that is much more mellow and less anxiety-inducing, or as you say, just don't smoke.
Right. Okay. Next from Columbus, I believe, with Dr. Klatz. Hi.
Yes, this is James from London, Ohio. I had first Belgab, Roswell's art.
Thank you.
For Dr. Klatz,
Go Belgab.
I have a very specific question. I heard him talking about athletes and how they stay younger longer.
Right.
Now, I've experienced something that's totally different. It's working with the military. I joined when I was 17 in the Army and then in the Marine Corps at 20 and had several combat tours, plus I'm a contractor now. And I noticed with myself, I made gray, but I still can hump with the young hump, meaning go up mountains in Afghanistan.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Walk through the deserts. And there is something, I think, to that keeps one young. And I'm now 48. So, I mean, I've been doing this. Look, war is a game. It's the ultimate game. And
I absolutely agree with you. If you're that active and you're that involved, it'll keep you younger. I think, that's doctors said that, right, doctor?
I agree with that entirely, yeah.
Yeah, so we agree.
And that was my question was, what does that? Is it the adrenaline? That was my real question. Is it the adrenaline, the boredom?
What it is that when you exercise, you turn on an entirely different set of metabolism. You turn on different switches in your genes and in your metabolism than you do when you're sitting in a chair. Even if you stand up, you activate different switches in your mitochondria and in your chromosomes than when you're sitting down. Probably the worst thing you can do for yourself is to sit down throughout the day. The best thing you can do is stand, walk, or move. Motion is associated with a different process of metabolism, and it stimulates. It's not just the exercise. It's the actual movement that stimulates your metabolism to a different level. And that higher level of metabolism is associated with a more youthful level and is more effective at detoxification, at preventing many of the disorders of aging. So being sedentary is perhaps the worst thing you can do for yourself.
Okay, Pam, on Skype, you're on the air with Dr. Klatz.
Hello.
Hi.
What I would like to know is his opinion on, we are what we eat, right? GMO food.
Okay.
Glyphosate-laden vegetables.
Okay.
Oh, boy. There is a big push from very powerful people and from very powerful organizations and from very well-connected political organizations to force GMOs down the throat of the public. And frankly, what I don't understand is that if the FDA requires extensive testing for safety and for efficacy of every new drug that comes along, but you make a new substance, which is what you do with the GMO plant. If you make a GMO, if you put new genes into a plant, you have a different animal than you did, naturally. But the FDA just rubber stamps this stuff and lets it out onto the marketplace.
Oh, I know that. That's Michael Taylor runs that now. And isn't he a Monsanto person?
I believe he is.
Yeah, and
so
same with
are
the
you
USDA.
asking, ma'am? Are you asking? Are they safe? Are they dangerous? Are they good? Are they bad? What?
I think my opinion is, I want his opinion.
Well, then, good.
Okay?
Make it a question.
What I want to know is how this affects, any kind of new medical longevity breakthrough, whether it is defeating the purpose.
All right.
Well, what you have is you have a big question mark, and the big question mark is GMO foods. And if you're into taking care of the most important machine you have, and that's not your car, and it's not your airplane or your boat or your telephone or your cell phone, it's your body. If you're into taking care of your body, then you want to be very conservative. And so you should be very cautious about what you put into it, whether it be a new drug or whether it be a new form of food or whether it be clean fuel or clean air or clean water. And so I recommend very, very strongly, if you have the potential for an extra, 15, 20, 30 years of youthful, productive lifespan, don't blow it on something that could potentially be dangerous.
All right. That was kind of an answer. I understand that you want to stay away from anything strictly problematic in some sort of legal way, but it was a really good attempt. From the high desert and the great American Southwest, this is Midnight in the Desert. My guest is Dr. Klatz. Very interesting questions coming. And here it is again, and I think you just got your answer to it, really. It's high art. Would you please ask Dr. Klatz if he thinks the rise in autoimmune diseases is due to GMO foods? So his answer was, be careful. Right, Doctor? Dr. Klatz? Is that it?
Yes, that's the most I can say right now, Art. Just be careful.
Okay.
And on the side of caution.
All right. Now, here comes another big one. The rate of autism in America is gone up incredibly. Now, it's gone up so far that nobody can figure out why. I mean, it's way up. It's scary. I mean, it was 1 in 500, 400, 300, 200, 1 in 87. It's freaky stuff. You want to stick your neck out on it at all? Got any guesses? Not a chance. Oh, too bad.
All I can say is that MIT just published a report that at the current rate, autism will, if something is not done very, very soon, if something that's very serious is not done about autism, that autism could be as frequent as 1 in 2 boys by the year 2030.
Did you say 1 in 2?
That's right, 50-50 chance. And that's from MIT.
Oh, my God.
This was just a recent report, not 2 weeks ago.
Unimaginable. Unsupportable. If that were to happen, that's like the end.
It is right now.
It's like the end of the world.
When I was growing up, the incidence of autism was 1 in 10,000.
Right.
In the Amish, it's still 1 in 10,000, but in the general public, it's like 1 in 60.
So that's like the end of the world.
8.
That's like the end of the world.
It's getting there.
1 in 2? That's the end of the world. The world couldn't support that.
No.
All right. Fine. Let's go to the phones. I'm sorry. Who's next? Hit the next button, Arthur. There you go. Hi.
Hi there, Art. I have a question for Doctor. I'm Tom in San Diego.
Hi, Tom.
2 questions for the doctor back on tobacco. The first one is that you always see the statistics about that tobacco is the highest ranked cancer causing or cancer death causing but you never hear the percentage of people that actually smoke that get cancer, which is the inverse of the question. And the second tobacco question I have is, I started smoking when I'm 20. If I quit at 60, I know that changes happen in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. So my question is, what are those changes that happen naturally, and what does his life extension program have to make a better recovery?
Okay.
Okay, with regard to an anti-aging medicine program, there's an awful lot of detoxification that goes along with anti-aging. And the detoxification is to pull toxins out of the body.
Right.
And whether that be through use of spirulina or chlorella or hot saunas or large amounts of vitamin C or other detoxifying nutrients, the purpose is all the same. Even exercise will help to remove toxins from the body. And there are a lot of toxins from smoking. I believe that the statistics are that it takes about 7 to 10 years to completely reverse or eliminate the risk factors associated with smoking, such as heart disease and cancer. So it's a long-term event, but you should start right now. The chance, you might get lucky, and you might not end up with cancer. You might not end up with, heart disease. Not everybody gets it, and certainly there are things that you can do to mitigate it. There are a tremendous amount of anti-cancer products in the foods we eat. Garlic, selenium, vitamin D. These are all strongly anti-cancer. Folic acid.
Before we get too far away, let me invite you to stick your neck out again. And you can laugh and say no way if you want to. But, all right, so people are smoking cigarettes. I thought
you like me, Art.
I do. People are smoking cigarettes. They're hooked. They're looking for ways to stop. Now we have vaping. You know about vaping, right?
I do, and
okay.
I know one of the major manufacturers of vaping, and I was not for it initially because I wasn't convinced that the material they use for the vapors, the propylene glycol, was all that great for you.
Basically, vegetable oil, isn't it?
Well, it's propylene glycol. And sometimes they use vegetable oil.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, it's much less toxic than what's in a cigarette. And it turns out that, quite to my surprise, that the studies are showing that vaping has a very good effect at helping people quit. Because apparently the reason why people smoke is not so much the nicotine, but they have this psychological desire to play with a cigarette and watch the smoke. And
absolutely.
Everything that goes with it.
Yes.
There's a whole mantra, associated with it, meditation perhaps. And people like that. And they can get the same feel from a vape cigarette, and it has a very high level of success in getting people to quit. I think it's like over 50%, which is much, much higher than any of the drugs.
We're not going to find out years later that it, causes somebody's leg to get shorter than the other one or something, are we?
I doubt it. I really do.
Well, that's a good answer. Honest answer. Thank you.
Dark Matter News. I'm Leo Ashcraft. A massive UFO mothership was photographed looming over the surface of the moon last month, a ship that appears to be 100 miles long, at least according to analysis of the images by a prominent UFO researcher who took a long, hard look at a YouTube video that claims to show weird lunar flashes or pulses, along with many weird anomalies that dart through the frame. The video catches a long tubular object hovering over the edge of the moon. The YouTuber Crow777 says this is a mothership. Skeptics say that this and other photographic evidence of UFOs on the moon are nothing more than imperfections in the pixelated images, or natural formations on the lunar surface that are misinterpreted by untrained observers. It's a popular sci-fi plot. Earth sets up colonies on Mars. Mars colonies grow, developing their own technologies and culture. And then Mars colonies rebel against overbearing Earth government, demanding independence. It happens in Total Recall, Babylon 5, and in Red Mars. But what if we gave Mars its independence right from the beginning, rather than giving future colonies to governments or corporations? Jacob Hack Misra thinks we should let the Martian colonists develop their own values, governments, and technologies with minimal interferences from Earth. He's an astrobiologist at the Blue Marble Space Institute of Science, a nonprofit organization that promotes international unity in space. His strategy would preclude any Martian wars for independence, but culture independence could help Martians think differently enough to solve problems that Earth continues to struggle with, such as working together to fight global environmental problems or making long-term plans for the future of humanity. Instead of getting divided by nations or plundered by industry, he says maybe Mars is more valuable in trying to seed the second incidence of civilization. The plan that he lays out is in an essay in New Space. Someone has spotted a water monster in Fairview, Oregon. A 23-year-old believes an unknown creature is lurking the waters of the Columbia River. Taylor E. Bagdell, a computer technician at Multnomah County, said on Monday he was fishing from a boat ramp dock at the Chinook Landing Marine Park when he and two other people pointed out the oddity on August 19th. He said it happened around 10 p.m. that evening, saying he first thought it was a log or a sea otter at first until it began moving. He said it drifted slowly about 50 yards away, and then it began to sway a bit, and there were several sections on the top side submerged. The unidentified animal, he says, had a black and white striped long fins on the back. While the sighting only lasted about a minute, he said it left him with a creepy feeling and goosebumps. Chinook Landing Marine Park is a 67-acre area, mainly dedicated to boating activities. In late July, a Texas woman said she had encountered a similar creature while on a boat on the Sabine River. She said she and her husband were fishing from a boat, and she had encountered the creature swimming by her side. While the sighting only lasted a few seconds, she was able to spot some of the physical features of the creature. A long spiky tail the size of a tree trunk in diameter had come out of the water. She said it had a single row of spiny spike things that went along the whole length of the tail, and when she saw it, she immediately thought of an image of a dragon or a dinosaur. Two humps of the tail moving in and out of the water as it slowly went under the water, making very little splash. And then in February, a woman from Hardin County, Texas, had an encounter with a similar creature that her grandparents had reportedly experienced while crossing the Sabine River from Louisiana into Texas. The report also included 20 additional families that were witnesses to this alleged reptilian sighting. The being was described as something that looked like a dragon. The animal had reportedly come out of the water, scaring the horses that were traveling with the families. I'm Leo Ashcraft for Dark Matter News.
I want to add, Dr. Klatz is not selling anything. You're not listening to an infomercial or any baloney or junk like that. This is just the state of the art, and we actually have branched off into many, many, many different areas, some of which he can talk about and some of which, wisely, he does not talk about. And I don't blame him. I understand the implications. Scott, you're on the air with Dr. Klatz. Yo.
Yeah, good morning, Art.
Morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've got a question, but I've got a quick comment to the caller before who was having trouble with panic or whatever from smoking pot. If he can find a strain called God's Gift, I think he'll be favorably impressed.
All right. That said, you have a question?
Yes, I do.
None of us are supposed to be giving out any kind of medical advice, so.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I understand. Sorry. God's gift.
Does the doctor, do you know of any advances in stem cell research that would suggest they could be helpful to people with surgically caused problems with the pituitary or hypothalamus?
You know, that's kind of a very advanced and esoteric therapies. I don't know of any stem cell researchers who are working on stem cell for hypothalamus or pituitary. However, stem cells are generally good for a lot of things. And, if you're able to find a stem cell researcher who's working on stem cell therapies for dementia, or for Alzheimer's disease, or for neurocognitive problems of the brain, you might you might get a beneficial effect on with these other tissue, these other structures within the brain as well. another interesting thing that's been happening. I mean, the area of neurology is exploding, and a new therapy that's coming to the fore, which isn't exactly stem cells, but does work in a way to stimulate the natural repair mechanisms within the cells, is laser-assisted photomodulation or photobiomodulation. And what they're doing, quite shocking actually, it was developed originally by NASA for use in the space program back in the 70s. And then it got, they found that this stuff works. What they were doing was they were looking at the effect of light on cells. And they found that there's certain specific frequencies of red light stimulate cell repair.
All right, doctor, can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
I have a really bad back. I don't mean a little bit of a bad back. I have a bad back of bad backs. It frequently will stop me, period. I can't walk.
Mm-hmm.
I can't walk. So that's called a full stop. And I've been seeing a doctor for years.
Right.
Okay, so I have tried something, and here it is. I went to a company who sells these LED pads, very expensive. I paid about $1,000 for what I got. It's a pretty good sized pad, doctor, and it has very strong red LEDs on it.
Yes,
and you can set the frequency of those LEDs that are modulated.
Mm-hmm.
You can set the duration. It gets quite warm. They're very powerful. And I've used it on my back, and never in all my life have I had anything that actually worked for my back. But this is doing it, and that's why I stopped you, because you were headed right there, so I couldn't help myself.
Exactly what I'm talking about. It's incredible the benefit of energy of the right frequency on the cells of the body.
What does it do?
It stimulates the natural repair mechanisms within the cell itself. It actually energizes the cells, and it turns on DNA repair. It turns on tissue repair.
Really?
And it mitigates some of the pain pathways. It interrupts some of the pain pathways.
Well, that's no joke.
And they're using this right now. Dentists have been using this for tissue repair in the mouth, for gums. Veterinarians are using it for wound repair in dogs and in horses.
Really?
And about the only people who are not using it is, again, the physicians, because it's not FDA approved for most doctors.
Well, look, I'm telling you, and I'm telling you the straight stuff here. I was at a point where I might have given up on ever having my back ever be better. I do it for about an hour a day, and I've been doing it now for almost...
An hour a day is probably a little bit too much.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're probably doing a little bit too much there. I'll talk to you off air about that. But
all right.
The important thing is that you have personal experience with photomodulation or photobiomodulation.
Yes, sir.
And this stuff does work, and it's been proven, and there's hundreds of papers. And now they're trying it out with Alzheimer's and with neurodegenerative disease. And they're finding it actually, in some cases, will regrow portions of the brain.
Incredible.
And so the listener who is talking about stem cells for pituitary and for other areas of the brain might have some benefit with neuromodulation or photobiomodulation, which is these red LEDs. But they have to be the right frequency, they have to be the right amount of time, and they have to be the right intensity.
Well, I've never found anything that worked until it came to this. I mean, there were some temporary things. You can go to a chiropractor, and frankly, my experience is that, they do what they do, and you feel better for about an hour, even most of the day, and then you're right back to where you were. Nothing ever really had a significant lasting effect until I tried this.
No, this is a technology that's been underappreciated and has been underutilized for the last 30 years. And the reason why is it's not a pill. And the bias in the pharmaceutical in the FDA and the bias in the medical industry is if it's not a pill, it can't be that good for you. And so it's a therapy that's been underutilized, and it's just now we're beginning to see the incredible benefits of this stuff because it works on a basic level. It actually works on a cellular level to help in repair and detoxification of the tissue.
Okay. All right. Enough of that. Back to the phones. And all of you, you're on the air with Dr. Klatz. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am. Turn your radio or device off immediately.
Yeah, I didn't know it would be that quick. Okay. I'm Rebecca. I had a question.
Yes.
I use a lot of anti-aging creams, and none of them seem to really work. And I was wondering what the doctor might recommend, especially for women, like maybe that aren't super expensive.
That's an impossible question for me, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because, again, it comes down to, there's a million different anti-aging creams out there. Some of them are beneficial, some of them are not, and a lot of it depends on the individual. I wish I had an easy answer for you, but I don't, except to say that there are things that do work.
All right. Hello, you're on the air with Dr. Klatz.
Hi, this is Julia. Hello, Art.
Hi, Julia.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So, Doctor, if you could just briefly address things like electric medicine, like the Bob Beck protocol. There's also this like EERT. It's EPRT. It's using, microcurrent to help bones heal. I'm just interested in your opinion on that.
I am too.
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of this, again, goes back to energy medicine, goes back to stimulating the cells of the body, stimulating the nervous system of the body in very subtle ways. And we don't understand much of that in the West. The Chinese seem to have a better understanding of energy medicine than we do because of their long history and, acceptance of acupuncture. But clearly, this stuff does work, and clearly this stuff does have a benefit. And for people who are interested in this, excuse me if I hawk my website, but worldhealth.net. There's probably about 100 papers online that are free for you that talk about these various aspects of energy medicine, and whether it be photonic energy, which is light, or whether it be microcurrent, or whether it be ultrasound, or whether it be magnetic nerve stimulation. This is a whole new area of medicine that will come into its own within the next 10, 15 years, because we're just beginning to start looking at these energy technologies in a meaningful way. And when we do, we will find miraculous results, just as you've experienced with red LED for pain.
Amazing stuff, yeah. Okay, Mac on Skype, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm calling from Arkansas.
Okay, but you're going to have to get really close to your computer because it sounds like you're in a hollow tunnel. So look for that little tiny hole in the computer where the mic is and get right up to it.
Is that better right there?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you. I have two questions I will try to make quick. My first question is, you were talking earlier about GMOs and marijuana, and it seems to me that there's a possibility that some of the marijuana that is sold in the marijuana stores today has been taken from its actual natural state, like possibly chemically grown. Is that a possibility? And number two,
they definitely, bred stronger and stronger and stronger. There's no doubt about that. And they've bred for specific medical treatment as well.
Yeah, but I don't believe that they've inserted genes that have no natural reason for being there.
Not necessary. Anyway, caller, go ahead.
Yes, and my other question was, what is the basic element in cannabis, marijuana, if you will, that helps like patients like myself with RLS?
RLS is a real difficult problem to treat. It's very painful and it's very complicated. Though it certainly would not be out of the realm of it certainly would not be worth it. It would be worth a try of trying the cannabinoids with it. Certainly the oils on the limb, because the type of pain that RLS is associated with, might be very well modulated by some of the cannabinoids.
Wow. All right. Somewhere in Wisconsin, I believe you're on the air.
Thank you, Art. My name is Riley. I'm calling from Osceola, Wisconsin.
Hey, Riley, you're going to have to speak up good and loud.
All right. Any better?
Better.
All right. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Just a quick question in regards to progress in the anti-aging field in regards to type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
Diabetes is a very important issue in anti-aging because everybody has diabetes. I shouldn't say let me take that back. Everyone is on their way towards getting diabetes.
Right.
If we live long enough, we all develop failure of our pancreas, and we develop insensitivity of the cells of our body to insulin. And so we develop diabetes or diabetes-like syndromes. And so there are a number there's an awful lot of research on new drug therapies. There's an awful lot of research on artificial pancreases, and there are artificial pancreases on the market. We're not just pumps, but actual pancreas that adjusts insulin output depending on your blood sugar. There are better and better methods of determining blood sugar. The latest thing I've seen is a contact, like contact lenses for your eyes,
right,
that actually have Bluetooth embedded in them, a Bluetooth type transmitter, an RF transmitter that transmits to your cell phone what your level of glucose is.
Wow.
So, having diabetes was a pretty dismal diagnosis just 20 years ago. But today there's so much happening and so much good stuff. And with stem cells, I really believe that there's going to be a cure for not just type 2 diabetes, but type 1 diabetes very shortly. There certainly is in the laboratory right now with animals.
Some people seem to acquire diabetes very early in life, and other people, as you say, very slowly move toward it toward the end of their life, right?
Yes. The people who develop it early are people who have an autoimmune reaction and have essentially they kill off the cells within the pancreas that produce insulin.
Uh-huh.
And so this is an autoimmune disorder. As we grow older, it's a combination of autoimmune and desensitization of the cells to insulin. But much easier to treat type 2 diabetes, which is adult-onset diabetes, than it is juvenile diabetes. And also juvenile diabetes causes more damage because there's much wider swings of glucose.
All right, Doctor, you have been a joy to have on the air. Really, you're well-humored and everything, and you've got a lot of information, and we don't have a lot of time. So if you want to get in a plug here at the end, go for it.
Okay, well, the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine is the world's largest preventive medicine society. We have 26,000 members, physician members of the Academy. We've trained over 150,000 doctors in 120 countries around the world, and we're a nonprofit organization. And we're here specifically for the purpose of advancing the state-of-the-art of preventive medicine and to train physicians in that technology. And so if you're looking for an anti-aging program, find a doctor who's a member of the Academy, and you can find them online at www.worldhealth.net. Worldhealth.net, we have a free newsletter that I'll send to all of your listeners if they go online and sign up for it. It's right there on the homepage at worldhealth.net, and there's even a forum that they can leave questions, and doctors will answer their questions for them online. So a lot of benefits, and it's all free, and that's because we're a nonprofit organization. We're out there just to, advance the science and help the public.
Way to go, Doctor. It's been a pleasure having you on the air.
I'm so happy you're back.
Thank you, and we will do it again, my friend.
You bet.
Good night.
Stay on the line. I want to talk to you about something else.
All right. I will. actually. Private and secret medical advice. Keep an eye on my picture. From the sound of his voice, I might be getting younger and younger and younger.
Midnight in the desert. And we're listening. Ooh, we're listening to you. Midnight in the desert, and there's wisdom in the air. I've been looking for the answers. All my life I felt you there. As the world we live in quickens, are we heeding all the signs? Have we lost our intuition? Are we running out of time? Midnight in the desert, and we're listening. Ooh, we're listening to you.